The Global Latin Factor Podcast.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Global Latin Factor Podcast, the Global Latin Factor Podcast, where we talk about everything related to Latino history, culture, today, tomorrow, yesterday, and all that. I'm not going to say in between no more, because I say that a lot. I did. We got Mia in the house. Hola, Mia.
What's up?
Did you like that song, Mia, whenever it came out? That Drake song and Bad Bunny?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny releases tour for next year.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm definitely scooping tickets.
I saw it all over my social media, bro. Bad Bunny's coming to 2022, fact, at the American Airlines. He already released tours, and everybody and their mom is all people looking for specials on tickets and everything. But if it wasn't for the Latino and the captcha, somebody can write a program, got all the tickets. So thank a Latino from Guatemala for that. Just saying, y'all welcome. On behalf of Mr. Carlos, I forget his name.
Von. Yeah.
Vanon. Sorry about that, Mr. Sir. From Guatemala. Alrighty, so real quickly moving on to I think it's very important to know about just a little bit about history of our parents. Do you don't think so?
Yes.
Or do you think so?
It is.
Why
important.
do you think it's important to know?
Because they created us. Their story basically made us. Because what are the chances of just something changing in their story? Then we wouldn't be here.
Like, tell us about your moms and dad. How did they meet?
So my parents love to dance, and they met at an old Tejano club here in Dallas, Texas. It's not here anymore. It's already like closed and everything. But my mom was not interested in my dad at all. Like, that's like 80% of women. Well, my dad was a really good dancer. Like all the ladies loved him just because his dancing. Like,
nice. My
my dad, not the best looking, but he could dance, and my mom just loved that about him. And he has a really big heart. My dad is a social butterfly. He knows everybody in West Dallas, like, no joke.
That's what's up. So, 80%, and I did a survey myself. This is my own survey that I conducted. 80% of women did not find their significant other attractive. However, after some time, now they're like the best looking thing ever. Like, oh my God, I didn't like him at all, but now, girl, he has the eyes of Denzel Washington. Nah, no, he doesn't. And it is true. Mark Anthony, remember? His dad told him, hey, we're a little feito, we're a little ugly. We need to work on our personality. Your dad worked on that dance, and it worked out for him. And imagine, if it wasn't because of that, then y'all wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how my parents met. They're a little shy because, and that's another thing about us Latino cultures, that we just, like, it's so weird to talk about certain things like that. They get weird and strange about that.
Yes.
Like, it's not okay to talk about it. Like, why not? That's what happened.
My best friend, her mom does not talk about her privacy life or anything. Like, my best friend, she's her
like
and her
that
mom,
too.
but no, like, she's more open. My best friend's more open, but her mom is super quiet. She doesn't tell anything about her business, nothing, like, to herself. And she never, like, opened up to her, and they have a weird relationship, but they love each other. It's just weird.
See, I'm with that lady about that private thing, but with strangers. But with your own, like relative, like your own kid, your own son, your own daughter, not to be able to talk about certain things, I think it's weird. Like, I know that my dad had a rough with my dad, my grandpa, because he was real tough. And the only reason why he was tough with him is because his grandpa was tough. So, and I dealt with it a little bit, and I was older, because I felt, for whatever reason, I just get a weird feeling that, I know my dad loves me very much, but when I was growing up as an adolescent, like a teenager, I really felt like he didn't like me for a long time. But later on, years later, we could sit down and talk about all kinds of different things. And again, they're not too super open about certain things, and it's understandable because they're still old school. But I know a whole lot more about my parents, like how the reason that my dad decided to come to the States is because he planted some crops. I think it was some squash, and there was a hailstorm, and he ruined the entire crop, so he couldn't make money, and then he had no other way out but to make his way to the U.S. to try to make some money, because he didn't have no money. There was no work. So he had to take off. He came in illegally, did his thing, made us legal. But again, that's one of the reasons why I see a lot of the people don't understand why people have to make their way somewhere else. It's not because he wanted to. He didn't want to. He wanted to have this a successful crop and pick up the squash and sell it and make some money and just keep doing it over and over. But eventually it didn't work like that. He had to go this direction, and that's what happened. And then, later on, got to the States and everything else, landed in a little town. He loved that little town. And till this day, he's still there. And I like the town. It's cool. And then another thing is that I found out is more talking to is that the reason why his great grandpa was tough with my grandpa. And then the same token, his dad was tough with him. And it was just like a weird cycle of like, they're just talking to each other like animals type, like treating each other's kids like animals.
But that's almost all they see. That's all family sees is that y'all talk like that to each other, and then the child sees that y'all talk like that, and so it's just like passed on, and the cycle never really breaks. This weekend, I went to a family's birthday party,
right.
A side of the family that I never go to. My mom never brought me around, so when I see them, they know who I am, but I have no idea who these people are. And my mom's like, "Oh, that's your cousins. This is so and so."
Well, that's my mom's side.
Yeah, that's only on my mom's side of the family because my mom never really brought me around them because of how they are, and they get crazy, and my mom didn't like it, and so. Like, you see the grandma, and then the parents doing something bad, and then the kids are doing something bad because they see that the parents do something bad, and then it just gets passed on.
See, I don't have any kids, as I mentioned before, but I know that kids, like, from when the time they were born till they're about 7, that's when they develop their identity. So during this entire time, they're soaking everything. You feel like just because you tell them, no, don't do that, and you're doing it, it's like the kid's confused. Like my nephew, right? So my little nephew, he was, I tell all my nieces, "Hey, mama, give me that. Hey, mama, give me that." Or, "Hey, mama, come here," or this or that. That's just what I call them, the little ones. And then my little nephew, he was, he used to get, "Mama." And then I was, to my other niece, the younger niece, I was like, "Why are you calling her mama? That's not your mama." And I was like, "What are you doing? Don't call her mama. That's not your mama." And then it dawned on me, I don't know why, I'm like, well, duh, I'm calling her mama. And he's just repeating what I'm saying. He captured that. He literally just looked at the way that I acted and said and literally took what I was saying. And I was like confusing the kid. Because the way you telling her mama is not your mama, but he wasn't saying mama or mom. She was saying mamas, like I'm saying it.
Yeah.
And he tripped me out. And then on the Super Bowl, we were watching the Super Bowl, and I get like real crazy about like certain plays or whatever. Like, no, what are you doing? Tackle that for whatever. And he's like, yeah. He's doing his little arm too. I'm like, dude, they're so freaking. They're like super sponges.
Yeah,
everything.
they soak everything up.
Yeah.
My best friend, so they're like my nephews, even though I'm not related to them or anything. But they're like my nephews. One of them, super nosy, just listening to our conversations on the phone because I call my best friend every single day.
But he got it from somewhere, though, right? You know there's somebody doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't just pick it up out of nowhere. He saw
But they're
somebody.
listening. They're listening to everything. And they catch on real quick. They're so smart. Little kids are so smart. And
that's what I'm telling you. That parents think that just because you tell them, don't do that, but you're doing it, it's just not the same thing. Because all they see is, like, they're not understanding, comprehending yet. Everything's not, like, clicking, but all they see you doing that, even though you tell them no, but you're doing it. Like, what you're giving the example of.
You know what I just thought of? It's crazy how we basically create like the next group of people. Like we're growing them, we're molding them, we're changing them, letting them learn everything that we learn, and it just passes. And it's crazy to think about.
Well, it does happen like that, though. Exactly the same thing. That's what I'm saying. It's important to be able to share the history of your kids with them, a little bit of, certain things you feel shy, whatever you don't want to talk about. But that's the same thing, because we're molding them, teaching them certain things that maybe they didn't realize they can do within the family. They'll be able to, My dad knows how to grow crops. Maybe one day I might get into growing crops. Maybe I'll be successful. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like, we don't want to talk for whatever reason amongst our family, and I think it's not cool. I think we should be able to talk about everything, or a
Be
lot of the
open,
things.
Be open.
A lot of the yes, open, and a lot of the things that we have you gone through and things like that to help build experience and know that they know somebody that they can go to. They went through certain things and they can help them in life for whatever reason.
Yes.
Alrighty, so I think it's very important. So again, keep familia first and just keep talking to each other and let's make it happen. The next Global Latin Factor contributor, we have a very, very special man. I listened to a lot of his interviews. To me, it's just crazy. Like, just his upbringing, right? So I was talking about how my dad made it to the U.S., but this man is almost the same thing. We're talking about Mr.
Carlos Santana.
Carlos Santana. He was born in 1947, and his birthplace is Autlán de Navarro, Mexico. His full name is Carlos Humberto Santana Barragán. Can you say that?
Ooh.
3 times really fast?
Oh, no.
No? For anybody that's interested in zodiacs, he's a Cancer. Are you into that?
Oh, yeah. So my dad and my stepdad are Cancers, and both of their names starts with F.
Well, his name starts with F.
Yeah.
But Mr. Santana starts with a C.
Well, in my family,
Your mama likes Cancers.
I guess.
Sorry, Mama. I
likes
didn't mean to
Cancers.
offend you. Please forgive me. I'm just saying. She likes Cancers this time. So, if you didn't know, Mr. Santana was actually born in Mexico. He was born in Mexico. He really enjoyed listening. First of all, his dad was a guitarist and a violinist. So, at early age, he was already involved in music. So, it's all the way around. So, his award-winning guitarist, Carlos Santana, is considered one of the 15th best guitarists in the world. And he leads a band which the same name, Santana. And his music, okay, so he said one time he went to a place and he noticed people playing mariachi music and people playing some blues, some jazz. And then in between there, he was there, he just saw, and he realized that the sounds were intertwining, and then all of a sudden he's like, it don't sound that bad. It sounds pretty good. They're mixing jazz and mariachi, but they're not conflicting to where it sounds horrible. It kind of just sounded good, and that kind of influences his music a little bit, because a lot of the times when he put a record and it was just Oye Como Va, the people around him and this record, they were like, no, we're not gonna put it in there. Like, no, we're gonna put it in there. I have to put this record in there. You're not gonna tell me that I'm not gonna put this record. Being in Spanish, and just pretty much Spanish in Spanish and in a record. I mean, you could say his genre, because he's not really rock. He's got his own vibe. He's got his own genre of the way he jams out and the way they do. And the crazy thing about him is they used to just jam out, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have nope. That's all they did. All they did is jam out. They didn't have no lyrics. They had to learn how to make eventually a song structure with a hook, verse, bridge, all that. They didn't know. All they knew is just rock out, and just wanted to like get a little high and then rock out. So you'll remember Mr. Santana became very popular and more noticeable in Woodstock in 1969. So one of his managers that was at that time with him, they had a call from the people that were running Woodstock. They needed a favor. They needed people to help them out. Like, okay, the manager or his people were like, okay, we'll help you out, but you're gonna have to put Santana in. Like, okay, that's fine. We'll help you out. All right, fine. They took Santana over to Woodstock. If you don't know about Woodstock, you need to look it up. It's one of the biggest, craziest concerts. Over 100,000 people plus, more even. I don't know what the biggest. Can you do me a favor? What is the biggest Woodstock attendance ever? So, anyways, back in 1969, so Santana takes a little something to
take out the edge.
Take out the edge. He doesn't realize that they're gonna go in that fast, right? So he just thinks we're just gonna sit there, chill on it, wait on it. But they get it called into the
1969.
How much was it?
400,000.
400,000 people. So this is the time Santana was recognized all over the place. 1969, Santana's in Woodstock, 400 and something thousand people there. They get there. He takes something to take the edge off. All of a sudden, he's in the zone. And they put him on stage, not realizing that they were gonna go on stage. And guess what? They just started jamming out. and Santana describes he was so that whatever he took the edge so far that he was like out. And LSD, I believe it was he took, just to be clear. So he took it, and he said he was trying to play so hard and hold on to the guitar so he won't fly away. And then he said that the guitar was moving and actually it was a snake. And he kept seeing, that's why he was making those faces, because he just kept seeing things. He said he was going up for dear life. He prayed to God. He said that day, if you let me just get out of it and do a good job, then I would just don't ever do it again. For real. And that made him a household name after that of everything that he did. And of course he went on Grammys and different things like that. But it's just wild to me that this is the way he came to be. So interesting thing about it, that eventually he opened up about something that happened to him. So Mr. Carlos Santana was molested when he was a younger kid in Tijuana. So they moved from Mexico, they went to Tijuana, and he was playing around in strip clubs and different bars. And that's how they were making money as a young kid. And during that time, he got molested by, he called it an American guy that, just gave him things. And then at one moment when he realized what was happening, that's when he realized he lost his innocence. Because he saw that guy for that pig that he said that he was. And then eventually he just realized he lost his innocence at that time. However, he had a lot of problems and a lot of different things during this time, but it's only obvious, right? He got molested, went through a lot of things in his head, but eventually he found forgiveness, right?
Yes.
Because he said, I have to forgive this man because I can't have him to be part of my life. Or
control.
Control, live in my head space the entire time. I'm not going to give him that. So eventually he said he found forgiveness, let this man go, and just move on and went on his way. And he took a spiritual journey for a long time and just began, focusing on different things. He had a big influences as far as growing up. He had B.B. King's, Ray Charles, Little Richard, all these people he looked up to as far as rock and roll and blue. And then another thing that he did, so in 2003, so he did a tour, a global tour, an extended tour, and all the proceeds that he made, the net proceeds, he donated to South Africa to kids that were going through, suffer from AIDS, the AIDS pandemic or epidemic at that time. So that's crazy, right? To think that this born Mexicano, that doing, you could say, drugs to people that really don't approve of that, but at the same time, he just, doing things like that for not only giving back, but we talking about on the other side of the world. Yes. Not just
where people are less fortunate than us.
A whole lot. Again, I know it's tough in Mexico at the time, but it's not as tough as certain things that were going on another place of the world. And he takes it all the way globally. Not to mention, he's already a big influence with music itself. People love his music. Have you ever heard some of this just jam out? He's just a vibe. What they said is a vibe. This is what they're talking about. Whenever he just super different sounds that you just jamming out, and there's no words coming out sometimes, but you're like, you hear something,
you get lost and you just get stuck.
Yes, so it's crazy to me that people love it. Even when Woodstock, whenever people heard the song, they just went in. They just you can see the footage.
But all of them over there at Woodstock was also
but they were feeling the vibe. That's what I'm saying. They were feeling the vibe,
the flow, the energy, or all
it's
that. It's
all
just
that.
a different energy. That's what it is.
All that. You've been
I
to a
know.
couple of events. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what happened to the man. So again, he eventually became a citizen, a naturalized citizen, back in 1965. So he became an American. But it's a great story. A Mexican. He revived his career over and over. After releasing certain albums, and again, the albums. If you know Santana, if you don't, you can look them up. And again, remember, this is just like a little piece of the glacier of all the history that he has after Grammys, after things, after his career, not putting a song out, to coming back and doing big records again with Smooth and different things like that, to Maria, to moving on to different kinds of things that he did. So a little Mexicano that he did, and he's a big guy, and he talks a lot about spirituality, and just, he talks about angels and being, how eventually forgiveness and growing and going inside of oneself.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of that? Have you ever heard of like going inside of oneself?
Yes.
Like, what do you think it means to you, really?
Growing inside of oneself.
Like going inside.
Going inside?
Going inside of oneself. Because he said everything for us is already provided. We just have to go inside and
find
get
a
it.
bigger, deeper picture, basically, of who we are as a person. Because people change. People change every year. People change. I'm a different person than I was 3 years ago. You're probably a different person than what you were 3 years ago. I'm going to be a different person 5 years from now. Everyone's changing and growing and learning something new. And you learn new stuff about yourself that you didn't even know about. Because that's what happens when people change. They become somebody totally different, new. You don't even know who this person is anymore because
True.
they found who they are, or you're just learning.
What I think he meant is that, because he's in a spiritual search and he had gurus and different things, I think what he meant is like going inside, like meditating and really going inside and really look at the things that might affect you and might have hurt you, or the things that maybe you didn't realize you had in there that you could do, and then bring them out to the light. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because after a while, okay, so I'm going to touch about, I heard this one before. I don't remember who it was that I heard it before, but I heard this before, and I think it's very important to know. So he talks about forgiveness, right? He doesn't really go into it. He just said that forgive and this and that. But here's an exercise that you can try out, that I feel that I tried out myself many times over, going through some things, and it's very important. Okay, so it's very simple, and it seems too simple to be true, but a lot of times we don't realize how certain things don't have to be difficult. We just want it to be difficult because we're trained that way, right? If it's not hard, then it's not beneficial. Not really. That's just the way we kind of been designed to. There really is a lot of things that are super easy, and we just make it, or want to make it hard. But it don't have to be that way. So the way that you do it is that if somebody hurts you, whoever it is, you just close your eyes, you picture that person in front of you, right? And all you do is close your eyes. You don't have to go see that person. You don't have to have the person right in front of you. Eventually you get to that step. But to begin, you get that person, you close your eyes, you picture that person that hurt you, whatever they did. It doesn't matter how bad, how painful it is. You look at them and you say, I forgive you. I forgive you. For days, if you need to, eventually, to where the point where you see that person, nothing happens. Everything's just like, good. We're good.
That actually works.
It works.
Because I've done something similar, not exactly,
Yeah.
but I've done something similar to that, and it does help. It helped me a lot. Like, all I said was, I'm not in love with you, I have love for you,
Yeah.
and I forgive you, and thank you for my lesson, and that's it.
Yeah. You close your eyes and you just do that. You don't have to see that person ever, and eventually if you do get to that point to see them, there won't be that much friction, or you'll be just
there won't
so
be
out
conflict,
of it. So
confrontation.
be out of it, to be like, okay, be on your way. Because from what I heard somebody said before, that when you don't forgive somebody, that you allow them to live rent free in your head. I don't know about you, but I'm generous, but at the same time with my headspace I'm not that generous, and I'm gonna allow somebody that hurt me, or a lot of times I don't even see it like that anymore. It's like a lesson learned, like you were meant to do this, and it's not you, it's me. I need to do more work, and for whatever reason, if you betray me or if you whatever, it wasn't you. Yeah, you eventually did it. You're gonna be held accountable. But at the same time, I'm gonna learn my lesson from it. I need something to work on because I keep bringing certain people like that to do that. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be a slave to it. I'm gonna release you, let you be, and then just be on your way, and that's it.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, if you're going through some stuff, if you don't even know where to go to, if you don't even know where to start, that's a small step and a very, very powerful step as far as getting you to a place where you can just advance further. So that's what I'm saying. When you go inside and you look and you see that person, just, hey, if you gotta share tears at that time, that's fine. Let it be. But again, you don't necessarily have to see that person in real life. You just picture it in your head, your eyes closed, whether you need to cry, whether a moment it gets really hard. You can have many people that hurt you. You can line up 10 of them at the same time. Do it over until it's done. and just move on with your life, you know.
You know what else works that I did? I wrote everything down on a piece of paper. Everything that I wanted to tell this person, everything, like all my feelings, I just wrote it down on a piece of paper. My best friend gave me a lighter. She's like, okay, burn it. And I was like, okay. I started crying. Like, my eyes got so watery. I felt a weight lifted off my chest. Other places I felt that free. Or it's just an experience. You have to release the energy. You have to disconnect. It helps.
It does help. And then again, if you don't never heard anything like that before, I guarantee you, even that exercise itself, it just does something to you, because you don't have to be like a slave or attached to something that is no longer yours and serves you for any purpose. You learn your lesson and move on.
And people hold on to it. People
They
don't let
to.
go. People hold on to it, and that's what affects them in their future. It affects them in a different relationship, or just trying to communicate to people. It affects them.
Yeah, just let it go. It's not worth it. Life's too short. You want to be joyful and be able to do more things. And then again, you're blocking yourself from everything else that they said you're blocking your blessings. You're so focused on certain things like that that you're just not allowing all the other things that could come into your life that are beneficial towards you, because you're just focusing on this little, and it's little, really. You're just making it a bigger deal. It's little. And once you let it go, all this stuff was happening to, and it's happened to plenty of people. Cry if you need to, and there's nothing wrong with it. Even you as a guy, I don't tell you to go live on Instagram or Facebook and cry your eyes out to see people that know, but it doesn't matter. Within the privacy of your own comfort, of your own place, your own room, just let that stuff go. You know, stop getting drunk and wasted on this and that because you got hurt. Dude got molested as a kid. He lost his innocence. He realized that. I'm pretty sure he went through some very hurtful times, but he learned that eventually he had to let it go. And he talks about forgiveness for a reason. That's because it worked for the man, and he became successful and influenced throughout the world. People around the world know this man's music. You know, selling out concerts and freaking stadiums and things like that. You don't have to be a victim of anything. It happened to you, okay, that's fine. We're not saying it's okay, but at the end of the day, like, look, there's hope for you, because this man got molested. Talks about it. And that's another thing too. You know, you forgave for real when you are freely able to bring it out to the light. He talks about that too. So you forgive, but then at the same time you can bring it, because they ask him why he talks so freely about it now. Because in order for really get over it, you have to be able to forgive, and then you have to be able to bring it to the light. That it's okay to talk about it. It happened. Yeah, it happened to me, but it's alright, because I'm not a victim of that. But I'm way better than that now.
Facts.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other last thoughts on this?
This was good.
I liked him. I liked him a lot.
Yes.
He's another thing that I thought he was very interested in him, right? Just one last thing. So he's saying whenever he was making music and things like that, the way that he talks is crazy. So he said, like, talking to his producer, he's maybe playing like an instrument. He's like, no, that's like wind. I don't want that. I want more water. And then like he sees the instruments and the sounds like water or like elements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. Like, what? Or like colors. Like, this one's green. I need more blue. Things like that. I'm like, what?
More yellow.
You know what I mean? And it was like, what are you talking about? But his people understood, and he knew what he wanted inside of him. He knew once he heard it, it's like, oh,
this is it.
That's it. That's the one. That's crazy to me. To be able to compose in that manner, I'm like, what? Are you serious? And that's cool. I really thought so. And yep, that's Carlos Santana for you. And make sure you check out some of his music, jam out, and just chill. And man, just practice forgiveness. Let stuff go. It'll be all right. It's a short life. It really is. So we just gotta live it up to the most. This is another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Make sure you check us out. Every episode that we put out. I'm Crispin Valentina. I have Maya. My bad, Mia.
Oh, you said my name wrong.
Why did I say Maya? Mia. I'm gonna put the song for you. Please forgive me.
Please.
Until next time.
Peace.